All right. New or used? That's always a good question. Who insists you need a new car? A new car loses an average of 12% of its value the moment you drive it off the dealer lot. So it's already a used car and you haven't even arrived at home yet. So that's kind of the bad thing about it. But used cars are a good option for many people. So that's kind of a nice thing. You best buy is typically a 2 to 3 year old car because the annual depreciation and price is greatest over those first few years. Furthermore, many sources of financing for used cars will loan money only on newer models that are less than 5 years old. So if you actually want to buy a new car, it has to usually be in that range if they're going to give you money at a bank. Now, the two most commonly used sources of pricing information for used cars are the National Automobile Dealers Association Official Used Car Guide, which is the NADA.com, as well as the Kelley Blue Book or the KBB.com. They contain the average retail price for many different makes of used cars in there, and you can type in, what kind of condition it's in, what the, options are on the car, the mileage, and all that, and it'll should tell you roughly what you should expect, as well as what location you live in and how much it will be. All right, so suppose you're thinking about buying a car and have narrowed your choices to two options. The new car option, which costs 29,000 and can be financed with a 4-year loan at 2.3%, or the used car option, which is a 2-year-old model of the same car, costs 22,500. It can be financed with a 4-year loan at 2.9%. What's the difference in monthly payments between financing the new car and financing the used car? All right, well, guess what? We have to use that payment function again, our equation that we used earlier. And so what we're going to do is payment is going to be equal to what? Well, if we're doing the new car, that's going to be 29,000 times, and we have 2.3%, so that's going to be 0.023 over 12 divided by, and then we have our 1 minus the 1 plus 0.023 over 12 to the negative, and this is a 4-year loan, so it's 12 times 4, and then that'll give us one payment, and our other payment is going to be, well, now we're only borrowing 22,500 at 0.029 for 12 months or 12 compounding periods. And then we have 1 minus 1 plus 0.029 over 12. And it's going to be a negative 12 times. And this time it was a 4-year loan also. And so we want to know that one. All right, so now we just have to type those into our calculator again. So we go back over here and let's just clear all that out. And so our first one was 29,000 times, and we had a 0.023 divided by 12. And then that's divided by parenthesis 1 minus parenthesis 1 plus 0.023 divided by 12. And then that's raised to the power, and we have a negative 12 times, and this was a 4-year loan, so that was a 4. Arrow down to make sure we are off of that. And then this one, we're going to have to pay $632.96 per month. Now, if we do our cheating method again, and now we change everything that was different, now we're at 22,500, if I remember right. And it was a 2.9%. Oops. And it was still a 4-year loan. So now that gives us $497.03. So let's go ahead and do the math here. So if we round this up, that's going to be $633. And this one's going to be 497. And so the difference is going to be $136. So the new car is going to cost $136 a month more. So that's what it was asking, I believe. Yes. All right. So let's write down what we had. So this was 632.96, which we're going to roughly say that's $633. And this one we said was $497.03, or roughly 497. We're taking the difference, and that was equal to $136. So that one is that much more for the new car. Okay. All right. So that's the difference in monthly payments between the new car and the used car. All right. So as we've seen, buying a car is a huge expense. To make matters worse, the car continues costing money after you purchase it. These costs include operating expenses such as fuel, maintenance, tires, tolls where you're driving on the roads, parking, and cleaning. It also includes ownership expenses such as insurance, license fees, registration fees, taxes, and interest on your loans. Now, the significant expense of owning and operating a car is shown down here in this table. And this is according to the AAA. And the average yearly cost of owning and operating a car is nearly $10,000. It all depends. Small sedans, only 7516, large sedans 11,182, and everything in between. So electric vehicle a little over 9,000, SUV a little over 10,000, minivan a little over 10,000. And so we've got all this range here. And it also gives us a cost per mile. So small sedans, 50.1 cents, all the way up to a large sedan, which is 74.6 cents. Now, I'm surprised about this SUV being four-wheel drive being only 66.9 cents. I would have assumed that they must be talking about a small SUV because here in Wyoming, a large SUV I would assume would be way over here and it would be more expensive. But I'm not going to judge their numbers here. So that's what they gave us. So that's what we'll go with. But yeah, so as you can see, it's roughly in this 10,000 range. It's 7,500 to 11,000. And if you take the average of that, it's going to be around the 10,000, a little over 9,000 to 10,000. All right, so let's stop there and we'll come back with one more example.